For the participants, please wait a little longer. Om Swastiastu. Shalom Nama Budaya. Good morning and best wishes to all of us. The Honorable Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Languages, Mr. Ikomang Sulatra SSM, the respectable first and second Vice Deans, Dr. Desa Putu Eka Pratiwi SSM, and Ms. Komangdian Puspita Chandra SSM. Honorable Head of English Literature Study Program, Mr. E.G.B. Wahyu Nugraha Putra SSM. And Secretary of English Literature Study Program, Ms. Putu Devi Maharani SSM. And also, what I respect, Mr. Gede Hadi Wijayaraja, PhD. Also, all the committee and participants who joined today's occasion. Okay, for those of you who don't know me already, let me introduce myself briefly. My name is Chaira Atia. I'm a student of the Faculty of Foreign Languages, and I'm also a member of the Student Association of the English Department. And just to know, the Student Association of English Department, or HMPS, is a student organization under the English Literature Study Program. So the members come from active students of the English Literature Study Program. And with me, Shaira, today I will be your moderator at this event that will be held for around 2 hours. All right. First of all, I would like to thank first and second Vice Deans, also Head of English Literature Study Program and Secretary of English Literature Study Program for taking the time to join us today. And I would also like to thank Mr. Gede Rumahadi Wijayaraja, PhD, for agreeing to give a talk at this event. Last but not least, of course, I would like to thank all the participants who have already registered for this event. Thank you for joining us in Studio General today. I really appreciate you taking the time to attend this event. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Studio General with a theme doing language sciences in the digital age. This organization, this Studio General is held by the Student Association of English Department. This organization took the initiative to hold the Studio General as a medium for 4th and 6th semester students to increase their productivity in linguistics. Linguistic lectures during this pandemic are very useful. And in a digital age like today, it is important to understand its role and explore the new possibilities created by the technology. The basics of corpus linguistics will be introduced to students, including the existence of an infallible English corpus and several case studies on the application of corpus linguistic methodology in the linguistic subfield. Okay, I will check again how many participants have joined with us. Okay. It was really surprising. We have almost 300 32 people. However, since this meeting is very crowded, I hope everyone can mute their microphone, especially during the presentation. To make sure this event runs smoothly, I hope everyone heed the rules that we posted a few days ago. To recall the rules that during the Studium General, I will read again the rules of Studium General. Okay. For the first rules, Studium General depends names or institute names. Second, participants who have access to Zoom must dress modestly and behave politely when the Studium General is held. Third, please do not activate the microphone during the Studium General. And the next rules, the committee has the authority to regulate accessibility and control configuration like microphone, video, volume, chat of each participant in the Zoom meetings room. And fifth, in sharing sessions, the moderator will organize and read out several questions from the participants. Participants can ask the speaker by typing the question on the live chat feature or by using the right hand feature in the Zoom meeting application. And next rules, all participants have to fill the attendance list on the link that will be provided via live chat feature. And the last rule, certificates will be given to the participants that follow the full Studium General. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to the next agenda, let's pray together for the smooth running of our Studium General today. For that, let's prepare our hearts and minds to pray to God for a moment. We pray according to our respective religions and beliefs. Prayer begins. God, thank you. Okay, the next event are a speech from the chairman of HMPS, Ida Ayu Putu Ita Febrianti, and also the Dean of the Foreign Language Faculty, which on this occasion will be represented by the first Dean, Dr. Desat Putu Erika Pratili, SSM Home. For the first greeting, to the head of HMPS, Ida Ayu Putu Ita Febrianti, I invite you to give a speech. Time is yours.
Thank you for the moderator. Before delivering a speech, first of all, let us praise for a moment to a God, Almighty God, for giving us the good health and great opportunity so we can attend a very special occasion today. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ita Febrianti. I'm a chairman of HMPS, or Student Associations of English Department, and also the chairman of this event today. Good morning, Om Swastiastu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom and best wishes to all the best. The Honorable Dean of Faculty of Foreign Languages, Mahasaraswati Denpasar University. The Honorable all of the Vice Dean, Head and Secretary of English Study Program. The Honorable our Speaker, Mr. Gede Primahadi Wijaya Rajak PhD. Respectable all of the participants of Studium General 2021, and also dear our beloved committee. Thank you for joining. I'm grateful and honored to welcome and have a very important person and participants in this very special occasion. Well, right now, I would like to share some information about Studium General. Ladies and gentlemen, the Studium General is our very first program, and in this new period, which is we create this new program for relevant with this situation right now. Ladies and gentlemen, HMTS has two regular programs or events, which are Cherry and also English speech contests. As we can see now, the pandemic come into the surface as a limitations of our self to do every single things and also to find a solution for that. But actually, it will not as a limitation to boost our creativity and also initiative to make a positive program and increase the productivity, especially for students in English department. Well, after a long preparations, then on this day, we arrived and held on Saturday, 13th February 2021, of Studium General with a theme Doing Language Sciences in the Digital Age. Ladies and gentlemen, linguistics during this pandemic are very useful, and in the digital age like we are today, it is important to understand its role and explore the new possibilities created by the technology itself. We see that it's hard to fight in this situation, and because of that background, we would like to make a new and positive program to increase the productivity for fourth and sixth semester of English study program in Faculty of Foreign Languages, Mahasiswa dan Bahasa University. It's become our background and also the purpose of our Studium General today is to providing insight and also knowledge by conveying various informations and also inspirations related to linguistics for all of the participants. We hope by our first event, first program, HMPS, we can find a lot of benefits, which is for our organizations, for all of the participants, and also our faculty. Because this is a great opportunity and also platform to increase enthusiasm and find new possibilities for enhancing our future. In the fourth semester, we will get a new subject, which is that intro to linguistics, and also for sixth semester, it will benefit you to find some title for your thesis. On behalf of the committee, as a representative of this organization, thank you very much for all of the participants. Thank you for register and also be the part of our event today, Studium General 2021. Don't forget, we want to say thank you, the highest gratitude for our faculty, foreign languages faculty, and also our English study program, our supervisor, Mr. Wahyu, and also Ms. Davi. Thank you very much for your support, and also our dean, Mr. Ikomang Sulatra, and all of the vice dean, Ms. Desa, and also Ms. Pia Puspita Chandra. Thank you very much. Without your support, start from our planning until today, we can run this program and event, and we hope will be running smoothly until the end of the event. Okay, I will not take a lot of time to give a speech, but last things I want to say to all of the participants. Don't miss this expansive experience and also expansive time, because the more we learn, that's where transformation happens. And we realize that our event is far from a perfect, but on how the HMTS described, do the best, be better. We do our best and always do our best. It's because for our betterment, for our organization. Thank you for joining. Wassalamualaikum and best wishes to all the best.
All right, thank you, Ita. Next is a speech from the first vice dean of the foreign language faculty, to Dr. Tessa Putu Eka Pratiwi, SSMHOM, I invite you to give a speech. Time is yours.
Baik, terima kasih kepada moderator. Om Swastiastu. Selamat pagi kepada yang saya hormati, Ibu Wakil Dekan 2 yang sudah bergabung. Begitu juga dengan Ketua Program Studi Sastra Inggris, Bapak Wahyu, dan juga Sekretaris Program Studi Sastra Inggris, Ibu Devi. Terima kasih sudah bergabung dalam acara ini, dan tentu saja pagi ini saya ingin menyapa seluruh mahasiswa, khususnya mahasiswa semester 4 dan semester 6, Program Studi Sastra Inggris FBA Unmas Denpasar yang pagi ini sudah bergabung untuk mengikuti acara kuliah umum ini. Jadi senang sekali saya bisa menyapa semua mahasiswa ataupun dosen yang ada di dalam ruang Zoom meeting ini. Di tengah pandemi ini kita masih bisa bertemu dan masih bisa saling menyapa. Saya mengirimkan doa supaya semoga semua dalam keadaan sehat selalu dan bisa mengikuti acara ini dengan baik. Baik, sebelum saya melanjutkan, saya ingin menyapa Bapak Gede Primahadi sebagai narasumber kita pada pagi hari ini. Hai Pak Dede, panggilan akrabnya ya. Jadi Pak Primahadi ini sudah tidak asing lagi bagi saya dan bagi kita semua juga, karena di samping beliau adalah dosen dari Udayana, beliau juga mengajar di Fakultas Bahasa Asing, tapi mungkin tidak semua kelas atau tidak semua mahasiswa dapat mengikuti perkuliahan dari Bapak Primahadi ini. Jadi sebelumnya izinkan saya menyampaikan permakluman dan permohonan maaf ya Bapak Dede, karena hari ini Bapak Dekan tidak bisa mengikuti acara hari ini, tidak bisa membuka acara hari ini karena ada hal yang tidak bisa ditinggalkan. Baik, perlu juga diketahui ya para mahasiswa yang ada di ruang Zoom ini bahwa Bapak Primahadi ini seperti yang saya sampaikan tadi tidaklah asing ya. Jadi beliau ini adalah adik kelas saya dulu ya, mungkin sedikit perkenalan saja. Jadi Pak Primahadi ini masih sangat muda ya. Jadi beliau adalah adik kelas saya di Universitas Udayana. Bapak Primahadi ini juga S1 dan S2-nya di Universitas Udayana, namun S3-nya jauh ya Pak Dede ya, di Monash University Australia. Oke, jadi luar biasa sekali Bapak Dede ini dalam usianya yang sangat muda sekali, beliau sudah mendapatkan gelar PhD-nya di tahun 2019. Jadi masih sangat baru. Gitu, di tahun 2019 itu pun kami sempat bertemu di Australia, di Australia National University. Kebetulan saya juga mengikuti sebuah conference yang sama dengan Bapak Primahadi, jadi kami cukup akrab dan sempat melakukan beberapa proyek bersama, proyek riset begitu. Oke, jadi demikian sedikit perkenalan untuk siapa pembicara kita dan narasumber kita hari ini. Jadi adapun background atau latar belakang diadakannya acara kuliah umum ini tentu saja ya di masa pandemi ini, di masa yang sulit ini kita tidak boleh hanya berdiam diri saja, kita harus tetap stay produktif, tetap melakukan hal-hal yang positif sehingga kami juga dari fakultas baik dari program studi juga merancang beberapa kegiatan di luar perkuliahan yang tentunya bisa meningkatkan wawasan mahasiswa untuk mengikuti terus perkembangan ilmu pengetahuan khususnya di bidang linguistik. Tentu saja apa yang kalian dapatkan melalui kuliah umum ini akan sangat berbeda dengan apa yang kalian dapatkan ketika perkuliahan di kelas. Karena seperti yang kita ketahui topiknya ini sangat menarik sekali. Mungkin semua sudah tahu ya topiknya yaitu Doing Language Science in Digital Age. Ini sangat relevan dengan kondisi kita saat ini dan saya rasa ini akan sangat bermanfaat bagi seluruh mahasiswa untuk menambah wawasan tentunya, untuk menambah wawasan, kemudian untuk bisa sharing juga, tidak hanya hal-hal yang berkaitan dengan linguistik, tetapi juga perkembangan-perkembangan lainnya di luar sana. Kita tidak bisa menutup diri kita hanya belajar di dalam kampus saja. You have to explore everywhere from anyone who are expert in this, in a particular area. And in this case, Pak Primahadi is one of the competent lecturer who can deliver the topic about doing language science in digital age. Oke, di samping itu harapan saya juga dari fakultas semoga kuliah umum hari ini tidak saja bisa menambah wawasan dalam hal pengetahuan, linguistik, ataupun sharing, tetapi juga bisa menambah kreativitas mahasiswa. Perlu juga Bapak Ibu ketahui bahwa program ini terlaksana atas kerja keras ya dari himpunan mahasiswa program studi sastra Inggris. Jadi saya mengucapkan terima kasih pada kesempatan ini kepada Ketua HMPS dan juga para anggota HMPS yang sudah bekerja keras, semangatnya luar biasa sekali di masa pandemi ini sudah merancang kegiatan-kegiatan yang sangat kreatif dan juga inovatif untuk menambah kreativitas mahasiswa dan juga memberikan wadah bagi mahasiswa-mahasiswa lainnya untuk mendapatkan tambahan ilmu pengetahuan dan juga bisa sharing. Jadi harapan saya kepada para mahasiswa yang jumlahnya di sini sudah ada 345 mahasiswa yang join, luar biasa ya. Jadi harapan saya Anda tidak hanya mendengarkan saja tetapi juga sharing. Ya, dengarkan dengan baik, kemudian sharing. Jika misalnya tidak ada hal yang ingin kalian tanyakan terkait topik, kalian bisa menanyakan hal lain atau sharing pengalaman mungkin, sharing pengalaman dan juga menanyakan hal-hal yang terkait dengan peningkatan kualitas soft skill para mahasiswa khususnya. Baik, saya juga mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Ketua Program Studi Sastra Inggris dan juga Sekretaris Program Studi Sastra Inggris yang tentunya pasti sudah memberikan dukungan yang luar biasa sehingga acara pada pagi hari ini dapat terlaksana dengan baik. Oke, demikian harapan saya. Saya tidak akan banyak mengambil waktunya karena nanti saya akan memberikan waktunya lebih banyak kepada Bapak Prima Hadi untuk memberikan pemaparan kepada mahasiswa sehingga nanti mahasiswa memiliki juga waktu yang lebih banyak untuk berdiskusi, untuk sharing. Nanti mohon juga Pak Prima Hadi memberikan pencerahan-pencerahan bagi mahasiswa-mahasiswa di FBA sehingga mereka juga tidak hanya mendapatkan pengetahuan terkait dengan topik yang akan disampaikan pada pagi hari ini, mungkin juga ada yang mau sharing, menanyakan kiat-kiat bagaimana Bapak Prima Hadi yang masih sangat muda belia ini bisa sukses, bisa bahkan meraih beasiswa ya. Jadi Bapak Prima Hadi ini menyelesaikan studinya di Monash University itu dengan mendapatkan beasiswa langsung dari Monash University dan itu adalah prestasi yang sangat luar biasa. Kita tahu semua tidak mudah untuk mendapatkan beasiswa apalagi dari universitas luar. Mungkin juga ini bisa menjadi inspirasi bagi semua mahasiswa yang hadir pagi hari ini. Mungkin nanti juga bisa sharing hal-hal terkait dengan hal-hal yang bisa memberikan motivasi dan inspirasi bagi para generasi muda, khususnya mahasiswa di FBA Unmas Denpasar. Baik, demikian yang bisa saya sampaikan. Selamat mengikuti acara kuliah umum kepada seluruh mahasiswa dan juga mungkin ada beberapa dosen yang bergabung dalam Zoom meeting ini. Baik, terima kasih atas perhatiannya. Selamat pagi dan saya tutup dengan para mesanti. Om Santi 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 Om.
Alright. Thank you, Ms. Tessa. For the participants, we already shared attendance list in the chat. You can start now. I would like to read the sequences of the Studium General. The Studium General is divided into 4 sessions. First session is opening, second, first, third, and the last one, closing. On this special occasion, we would like to have a presentation from Mr. Gede Wijaya, PhD, with the theme, Do Language Science in the Digital Age. But this presentation begins, allow me to introduce the speakers. Mr. Gede Primahadi Wijaya is a lecturer at the English Literature Study Program, Faculty of Cultural Science at Udayana University. Mr. Prima Jaya completed his bachelor's degree in 2009 at the English Literature Study Program and his master's degree in 2011 in the field of linguistics at Udayana University. Mr. Mahadi completed his doctorate degree at Monash University, Australia in April 2019 with an international research scholarship from Monash University and was awarded the 2019 Faculty of Art Outstanding PhD thesis in April 2020. Mr. Mahadi Wijaya is also an honorary lecturer at the English Literature Study Program, Faculty of Foreign Languages, Mahasaraswati University, and teaches semantics and research. Okay, for the participants, please pay your attention so that you can understand the material presented as best as possible. Without ado, I would like to invite Mr. Gede Mahadi Wijaya Rajib PhD as a speaker today. All right, Mr. Mahadi, time is yours.
Okay, good morning, everyone. First, I would like to ask if you can hear my voice clear.
Yes.
Yes, clear.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So first of all, I would like to express my gratitude for the students who has organized this event, and also my colleagues at FBA for inviting me to give or to share about doing language study in the digital age. So let me start my presentation, and I will also start my timer so that I can speak on time. I think I get 60 minutes. So yeah, 1 hour I've set my timer, so I know when to stop. Okay, so from the title and also from the theme of this talk, my talk will be divided into 2 parts. In the first part, I will talk about brief overview about language science or linguistics. What are the sub areas or subfields of linguistics that you can focus on? And then in the second part of my talk, I will discuss some technological developments that can advance the study of language nowadays. And for that, I will point out one resource where we can get a large collection of digitalized text that we can use as a data source for our linguistic and any language studies. And then I will present few simple case studies around the world. So this is a case study to analyze the use and also the form of words, the meaning of words. And okay, so let me see if I can play this right. Yeah, so if you hear the word science in language science, maybe this kind of image come up to your mind. You do some kind of fancy stuff in a laboratory analyzing language. Well, in a way, you can do language science in a lab, especially if you do experiment to study people, how people understand and also comprehend language in a laboratory setting. But really, science here is a fancy word for knowledge. Jadi, science ini adalah istilah keren untuk knowledge. Okay, so language science technically is the knowledge about language. And the scientific field that study language science is called linguistics. Okay, so linguistics is a field where you conduct scientific study about language. And then the broad or the general focus of linguistics is we want to know the nature and also function of language as a means of communication. So that's the broad idea. And then you may wonder what is meant by scientific here. So scientific means that you use systematic method you use systematic procedures to study and analyze language. So you don't just jumping around here and there, thinking about language and do some analysis. Yeah, so that's scientific here. It's not only about going to the lab. That means scientific. No, it means systematic and methodical. So, okay, linguistics is a scientific study of language. And because language defines us to be a human, it makes us what it means to be human, to be able to speak language. And human has been studied by different fields, not only linguistics, social science, psychology, biology, neurology. So that means linguistics become multidisciplinary. Ya, jadi linguistik itu bersifat multidisipliner. What it means by linguistics is a multidisciplinary field. So it means that we study language from a wide range of perspectives that encompass many different disciplines. So for instance, you can study the grammar of the language, the general rules of language, or you may be interested in how children acquire language, how children can learn language in their childhood. Maybe you are interested in whether old and young speakers speak differently. And some of you may be interested in how language develop, how structure of language change, how what is the history of particular language, and so on. So that's what it's meant by looking at language from different perspectives. And as I've said before, linguistics also overlaps with other fields in life sciences, social sciences, and humanities, sociology, anthropology, philosophy, psychology, up until computer science. They have business with language. Yeah, they have interest in language as well. Maybe they want to know how is language stored in the human brain? How can we understand language? How can language is part of human everyday behavior? Because that's what defines us as a human. Okay, so that's how linguistics or language plays a central role with other fields in life science, social science, and humanities. And also linguistics informs the related fields of language learning and teaching. So if your goal is to be a teacher or in a lecturer in a university, and you study language like French, German, Chinese, or Japanese, not English, you will most likely come into contact with linguistics. Yeah? There is no way you want to be a language teacher without learning linguistics, without learning the science of language. Okay, so that's the multidisciplinary nature of linguistics. So I hope to give you a broad idea of what linguistics is, the nature of linguistics, because I learned that in the 4th semester now you will get the intro to the linguistics. So please consider this as a broad introduction about linguistics that you will get more with your lecturer later on. So let's see what is or who is linguist. First of all, we need to clarify that linguist is not the same with polyglots. So polyglots are people who are fluent in many languages. They have knowledge about different languages, but they are not linguists in a way because they don't really do scientific research, or they don't study the structure of language. Maybe they speak fluently, they know the knowledge, but they don't really do research. Because linguists really are scientists, okay? Scientists is not only chemists or psychologists. So they are studying the structure of language, such as how speakers create meaning via combining sounds, words, and sentences into larger units of language that is called text. Yeah, so text can be conversation between your friends, speech that you prepare, like before the moderators giving speech, that's text, or presentation that that I'm doing at the moment. Okay, so linguists studies the structure of language, and they are more interested in describing the language. They are linguists lebih suka menjelaskan bahasa rather than prescribing language. Prescribing is like meresepkan bahasa, so you should speak like this but not speak like that. So that's more of the goal of teacher or writers. And linguists are not really interested in evaluating whether you use good versus bad uses of language. Okay. Right, so that's language science in a nutshell, very brief, sangat singkat dan sangat umum pemahamannya. Now let's see what are the sub areas of linguistics. What are the subfields in linguistics. And you will learn this in your class later on in further detail. So I will just point out the sub areas without talking much in detail. So, you know, I think I've mentioned about language acquisition, and this language acquisition is not only about children, but also adult language acquisition, like you are studying English, so you try to acquire English in school. So that's also part of language acquisition. Maybe that's a foreign language acquisition or second language acquisition. Grammar and then anthropological linguistics is the study of language and culture. Psycholinguistics, the psychological aspects of language, how you comprehend what people say, how you can produce language. And then linguistic typology, they are interested in looking at similarities and differences between languages of the world. So they compare different languages and they want to know whether those languages have similar structure, similar meaning, and so on. Phonetics and phonology studies sound structure. How many vowels does this language have? How many consonants does this language have? And so on. Morphology deals with word formation. How can language create new words? And then how you can understand new word that is recently created. Like maybe you have heard the word covidiot. It's a newly created word, and morphology will also study how people understand that new word that is created. Syntax focuses on sentence structure, combination of word into phrases and then into sentences. Semantics and pragmatics focus broadly in meaning in language. Okay, semantics I think deals with conventionalized meaning. Pragmatics deals with meaning in context. Lexicology, study of word in broader sense. So we will see some case study later on with lexicology. And then historical language change. So you study how the structure of language change, how new words is created across time and so on. And we will see a few examples. And then language change can happen because the situation of multilingualism where people speak more than one language. So the language that they speak may drive language change, or the situation of language contact where bilinguals, maybe people who are from different countries, live together, bringing their own language and they make contact with each other, and that may create change in a particular language. Okay, those are the sub areas of linguistics, and linguistics tend to be split into theoretical and applied linguistics. So what we have seen in previous slides, yang kita lihat di slide sebelumnya, it is qualified as theoretical linguistics. Applied linguistics concern the real world application of language study, such as second language acquisition, language teaching, translation and interpreting, lexicography, the science and practice of dictionary making. And even if you see this as a separate area, applied and theoretical, they have overlap in many respects. So for instance, brain surgeon, orang yang melakukan operasi otak itu will know where to do surgery on the brain if they know which part of the brain handle language. Jadi orang yang melakukan operasi otak itu akan sadar atau berhati-hati untuk tidak melakukan kesalahan di bagian otak di mana orang memproses bahasa. Yeah, so that's kind of overlap. It's just one example. Okay, so let's focus on aspect of language that maybe already we know more, like words. Okay, let's focus on words and see the properties of words. Yeah, so I hope I have give enough overview of what is language science and also the sub areas in linguistics. Now I want to focus on words. So one sub area in linguistics that study word in general is lexicology. And this is the study of words from different perspectives. So you can study word formation, the meaning of words, how the use of words varies according to social status, social structure. Okay, different area may use different words. So if you are Barents, maybe you don't really understand what your friend says if they're from this area compared to that area. Lexical relation and also etymology of word, they are all part of area in lexicology. Okay, so now what are words? Can you think about the definition of words so that computer can recognize what a word is? Okay, think about that in your mind. What do you think is the definition of word so that computer know, okay, this is word, this is not. I'll let you think and I will continue now. Okay, so according to Sakel here, so words are clusters of letters in text that are separated from other words by spaces. Cluster ini adalah groups of letters. This is group of letters in a text like this that are separated from other words by spaces. So these are spaces. Yeah, that we know that because of this is a word, this is a word, this is a word. Well, this is not a too bad definition of word and hold true for most of the written language. Jadi mungkin kalau bahasa tulis definisi ini cocok ya, especially with Roman character. But now think about Japanese kanji or Balinese script where there is not really a space that separates words, and computer will have hard times to split which one is the word in there. Yeah, that I learned from my friend that they have issue with splitting words for Japanese kanji. Okay, so at least for written text with Roman character, this could be the case of definition of words. Okay, and also definition of words is a bit tricky in spoken language because in fast speech, ketika orang bicara dengan cepat, different words can blend together. Okay, and frequent contraction of words. Jadi there are many words that are combined, but they are contracted, disingkat. They are represented in less formal forms. So I believe you are familiar with isn't. This isn't good. They aren't here. These are blend or contraction of two words in fast speech. And in written form, they are typically written like this. So isn't is just written like isn't instead of is not. And the question now is that isn't one word or two words. Okay, it is pronounced and written as one. Yeah, there is no spaces here, but isn't has two distinct meanings and under two underlying forms. So isn't means is for one and negation not in the other. So that's a bit of tricky in to define what word is in spoken language. But for isn't, some people view them as two words grammatically because of this. Yeah, they are viewed as two different words. How about lol? Is it a word or three words? You know, lol is laugh out loud, maybe for young speaker, but for some of the older speaker, maybe it means lots of love. Okay, so is it one word or three words or what? Well, we know lol is an abbreviation of this, but you can see lol as a single word or analyze it as abbreviation of three different words. And we'll see some example how lol is used as one word shortly. In addition to groups of letters that are separated by characters, space, so words are also elements that you can find in dictionary. Jadi kata itu juga adalah unsur yang bisa kalian temukan di kamus, the definition of the word. So if the words already established ketika kata itu berterima di suatu guyup tutur, they will enter into dictionary. So FOMO, fear of missing out, LOL, selfie, confident, they all have entered the dictionary. So if you check Oxford Learner Dictionary, just check it a few days ago, confident is there already. Amazing. It's just last year and it's already in the dictionary. And we know that not all words that we hear in everyday speech will be in the dictionary because every day new words are created. Jadi setiap hari kata-kata baru itu dibuat dan belum tentu langsung masuk ke kamus. So they will be used widely first before they enter into the dictionary. Yeah, so widespread use of the words will lead to the inclusion in the dictionary. And the newly created word can be also used to create new construction, new sentence structure like this. This is a real sentence. And the the speaker here used lol as a verb. I lolled when I saw his numbers at Wyoming. So this could be one piece of evidence to view lol as a single word rather than as abbreviation. Okay, yeah, I lolled when I saw his numbers at Wyoming. And also words convey meanings, of course. Words have meanings. Now I want you to think about the word chair. Okay, what does chair mean for you? What kind of image that comes up to your mind when you hear the word chair? I guess this is the first image that comes up to your mind. Furniture object, four-legged furniture object where you can sit on. Okay, this is true. This is the typical meaning of chair. This is example of sentence using chair with this meaning. Some of you may have this kind of image. Chair can also mean, metaphorically, it means director. So this guy here, he is not looking for a furniture chair. He has one, but there is no one as sitting on this chair as a director. Yeah, so chair can mean director. So now we know words can have more than one meaning. And because of that, it can also create what we call as humor or ambiguity, ambiguitas, ketidakjelasan ya. So this guy here is holding a wooden broken chair in front of a committee meeting with a proper chair, jadi kursi yang lain ini lebih baik. And he complains saying, I worked my whole career to get a chair. And this is it. So students from my semantics class before at FBA may have known this image before. So this is ambiguous whether he complains about he gets this furniture chair, broken and wooden, not fancy like the others, or he complains because he worked hard, but he didn't get elected as director. Ambiguous. Okay, words can convey meanings, more than one, and it can create ambiguity. Right, this is another examples from Language Nerds Facebook page. So she said, this is example of how meaning of word that is more than one can create a kind of joke here. So tonight has been amazing. We should have dinner again. That's what she said. And he replies, thanks, but I'm full. Can you catch the pun or the humor here? So the full here is, it has more than one meaning, more than one interpretation in this context. In one sense, he may think that the lady asked him to have dinner again that night while he already full with the food. Or because she likes him, she wants to invite him to another date of dinner, another day. And he is full with other dates, maybe, or other schedule. Yeah. And even someone asks for explanation, what does it mean? Okay. Because, yeah, it's a double interpretation here. Okay, so that's about word, definition of words, and the meaning that word can convey. Now, words can also be divided into classes, and linguists refer to these word classes as part of speech. So I think you have got this in your grammar class before. Primary word class, or the common word class that we know, is nouns, are nouns, verbs, adjectives. And these are examples of these words that belong to these classes. And then some of you may wonder why text, email, talk are also noun and also they are verb. Well, these are called ambicategorical words because the words can have two different categories, nouns as a, for instance, email as a nouns and email as a verbs. And we will see some example later on in the second part of this talk about exploring ambicategorical words using digital text. Okay, well, if you know, house can also mean, can also be used as a verb, but I forgot to circle this here. This is another humor where ambicategorical words can create a humor. Okay, so this guy says to the girl, During the weekend, I volunteer to help blind people. Okay, that's what he said. And then she is appreciative to that. That's great. But why are you upset? Yeah, why does he upset by saying this? And he simply said the verb, not the adjective. Can you catch the humor here? So the tricky part here is this: the blind. Blind is a categorical word because it can be used as adjective, blind people, orang yang buta. It can also be used as a verb, membuat orang menjadi buta. So that's what he meant here. He helped to blind people, membuat orang menjadi buta. So that's why he is upset. But the lady interpret this as adjective. Okay, a categorical word creates kind of humor here about language. So if you are interested in this kind of joke that can refresh your day while you are busy, go and like this page, Steve the Vagabond and Silly Linguist. They are on Facebook. Okay, so these are other word classes, adverbs, prepositions, pronouns. You know that already. Okay, so that's a bit of first part of my talk. So let me see my time. Still have 36 minutes left. Enough time for the second part. So I hope to give you illustration about what is language science in general, what are the sub areas that you can focus on for your language research if you want to be focusing on your, let's say, future job as a linguist, and some focus area of words study or lexicology. So now I would like to discuss how can technological developments that is happening nowadays help us study language. And I will also point out resources for that. So one of the important developments in linguistics nowadays is that the availability of massive collection digitalized text. Jadi salah satu perkembangan mutakhir di linguistik saat ini adalah adanya kumpulan teks digital yang ukurannya sangat masif, yang bisa kita gunakan sebagai sumber data untuk meneliti bahasa. And this collection of digitalized text is called language corpus, or corpora for plural. So corpus is a Latin word. That means body. So corpus can also mean body of text in this sense. And this data, this corpus, is part of a paradigm in linguistics that is called corpus linguistics. Jadi keberadaan corpus ini menjadi salah satu bagian penting dari pendekatan di linguistik saat ini yang disebut dengan corpus linguistics. So corpus linguistics here is not really sub-areas of linguistics like morphology, syntax, semantics, and psycholinguistics, and so on. It's more of a methodology and tools that can help you study those sub-areas. So you can use corpus linguistic methodology to study syntax, study morphology, study word meaning, and so on. So it is a methodology to study and describe language structure, language use, and variation in different contexts on the basis of analyzing large collection of electronic text. Jadi meneliti aspek bahasa seperti morfologi dengan menganalisis kumpulan teks elektronik yang besar using computer software. The one that I will show you today is resource where you can do corpus linguistics online without installing software. Yeah, that's what I'm going to focus on. So what happened before the era of corpus linguistics? What happens before there are no massive text, massive digital text, no computer software? What did linguists do to gather data, to gather language data? How do they do it? Well, introspection is the main data gathering method in the 1950s, especially within this generative linguist school. Mereka menggunakan introspeksi itu maksudnya it looks like this. So he or the linguist tend to think about examples, what kind of sentence that I can create to illustrate this theoretical point. Jadi mereka menggunakan intuisi kebahasaannya untuk menghasilkan kalimat, rather than looking at text in novel or newspaper to find sentences. So they think about that. And if you know Charles Fillmore, so Charles Fillmore called this kind of linguist as armchair linguists because They just sit, they appear to sit on a chair to think about example. And of course, corpus linguistic is also, it's about looking at computer and sitting on a chair. But we generate data not using our intuition, but we look at the authentic text to gather data. Okay, so that's a bit of the difference. And what's the big deal about corpus-based methodology? What are the major advantages of this method? Well, it gives you speed and reliability. Now, if I ask you now to create 10 sentences using the word globe in less than 1 minute, I guess you find hard time to create 10 sentences in less than 10 minutes using the word globe. By looking at a corpus or large collection of text, you can get 100 or even 1,000 of sentences with the word globe in just one click. So that's the speed. And then the reliability is that other people can replicate, can repeat whatever you do because you have external data. Jadi kalian punya data teks yang di luar intuisi kalian, jadi orang lain bisa mengulang kembali apa yang kalian lakukan. Ya, replicability and also reliability of your finding. Jadi hasil penelitian kalian itu lebih reliable. Ya, you can investigate more data and getting more exact calculation of frequency. Jadi kalian bisa menghitung frekuensi berapa kali suatu bentukan kata itu muncul di dalam teks. And this will give you patterns of language use. Jadi kalian bisa melihat pola pemakaian bahasa dengan melakukan kalkulasi seperti itu dan melihat data yang lebih besar. Okay, so that's one, I think two big advantages of corpus-based methodology. Okay, so this is an example of resource, very famous resource, namely englishcorpora.org. This is free to use online. You just need to register as a student. You can purchase the text if you want to download them into your computer. But really, I just use it online, okay? And you can use this as the source of your data for your project later on, especially for the 6th semester student and also for the 4th semester student. You can start exploring this and thinking about potential project using this resource. So if you look at here, there are many types of text that is available here. So you have, for instance, global web English, web-based English. So this text is from web mostly, representing 20 countries. So 20 countries that also speak English, where English is used. Imagine what kind of study that you can use. Maybe you can look at variation, the different use of words between different dialects of English, yeah, between different varieties of English. And then we have coronavirus corpus, the recent edition from 2020, representing 20 countries. And we have corpus of historical American English. So if you are interested in how particular words change its use across time, you can look at corpus of historical American English. Okay, we have movie corpus, TV corpus as well here from movie and TV shows. So most of the students that I have examined either in Udayana University or I think here as well, mostly they use TV as or movie script as their data source. And now we have those here. Dan ukurannya, if you see the size, there are 200 million words of text inside this corpus. So these are all big language data that we can explore for your project. Okay, I will focus on using COCA later on to illustrate the idea. So if you want to register, you can go to my account, click here, click register, and then you need to fill out this information. You can select student, undergraduate, and then click submit, and maybe verification email will be sent to you, and you just need to keep an eye on that, and then off you go. You can use all of this corpus with one registration. Okay, so that's the resource that I will use to illustrate case studies around the world. And then, of course, the corpus is just a data, and then there are two major ways where corpus linguistic can present the result of analyzing corpus. The first one is called concordance or keyword in context. We will see what it looks like very soon. The second way is frequency figures. How many times particular word occur in a corpus, how many times words that has ness at the end, berapa kali kata-kata atau apa saja kata-kata yang memiliki akhiran ness di bahasa Inggris yang ada di corpus, you can find that out. You can using frequency feature. Now I will show you this first, okay, keyword in context. And this is what keyword in context display look like, or it is also called concordance line. And what is meant by keyword? This is the keyword that you are interested in. So this is the keyword that is globe that I search for. And then in context, keyword in context, what is meant by context? The context is shown by these words to the right and to the right, to the left of this keyword, okay? These are contexts around the keyword. And this context can be useful for you to look at how globe, for instance, is used, and then what kind of verb that can occur with globe and so on. Yeah, this is just data. This is not yet a result of analysis. Okay, this is how you present data from corpus, keyword in context. And of course, you can sort this. Kalian bisa mengurutkan baris ini secara alfabetis berdasarkan kata-kata di sebelah kiri ataupun kanan dari keyword ini. Okay. And before we do that, we can see that globe can be used as proper name for newspapers, Boston Globe, and also proper name for award, Golden Globe Award. And globe can also refers to location around the earth, like audience around the globe, cultures all over the globe, small portion of the globe, the corners of the globe. And globe can also refers to spherical object, object bulat, representing the globe. Jadi seperti bola dunia itu ya, build a globe of it, small 8-inch globe, planet depicted by a globe. Okay, so of course we need to look through this line and try to extract information, semantic information or grammatical information. Let's see what are the travel verbs that can be used with globe. Okay, jadi kata kerja yang menunjukkan travel apa saja bisa yang digunakan dengan kata globe. If we look closely these lines one by one, we have circumnavigate the globe. Okay, circumnavigate, transitive verb with globe. Or travel the globe, travel across the globe. Zigzag the globe. Okay, that's a manner, zigzagging the globe. Circling the globe and wake around the globe. Yeah. So again, this is the analysis. The analysis of the question, what are the travel verbs that is used with globe? And you look at from this data that you have here in the keyword in context display. Right. As I've said, concordance or keyword in context display like this is nothing more than just raw materials. They're just data. But they are useful because we can see many data that is impossible before, okay? And then an important aspect in corpus linguistics and also an art in itself is your skill to read and analyze concordance. You analyze and read these concordance lines to extract semantic and grammatical information. Whether globe is used as definite noun with the or with singular noun with indefinite article and so on, that kind of grammatical information that you try to extract from this data. And how you can achieve that skill? Of course, you need to practice a lot and deal with this daily in your research later on. Okay, jadi perlu latihan dan juga practice untuk bisa terbiasa dengan membaca concordance line. So how do you do it? How can you produce this kind of display, keyword in context? So if you have register, go to English Corpora, and then, okay, I still have 23 minutes. Click on this Corpus of Contemporary American English, okay, and this is the interface that you will have. And then you see if you have login, there is information about you already logged in, and you can read the information about what COCA is, what is Corpus of Contemporary American English. It has 1 billion words, 1 trillion kata, it has 8 genres, spoken, fiction, popular magazine, and so on. Yeah, Imagine if you gather this text manually, it takes ages. Ya, jadi kalau kalian mengumpulkan teks-teks ini secara manual, mungkin kalian bisa S1 berkali-kali. Okay, so but you can use Koka for your research. Okay, click on this plus button here, and this will appear, the quick, and then click on that, and this feature will appear, and you type in here, okay, and because we want to sort the line by the third word, kita ingin menyortir baris keyword tadi berdasarkan secara alfabetis berdasarkan kata ketiga di sebelah kiri dari kata kunci. We select this box 1, 2, 3 words to the left of the node word. This is the primary sorting, and then you hit keyword in context button here, and you get the display that I showed you before. Okay, I have prepared for my student in lexicology in Udayana a tutorial about using Koka on YouTube, so feel free to check that out if you are interested in looking at or using Corpora for your research project. Okay, so that's keyword in context display, a way to present result from Corpora. Now let's see what frequency can tell us about language and the use of word in this case. So frequency is an important concept in linguistics nowadays, and it is a major factor in language change. Imagine, I believe you know, irregular verbs in English such as speak, spoke, spoken, what else? Write, wrote, written, something like that, okay? Irregular verbs. And they don't follow the regular past tense formation using ed. You don't say speak and speak with ed. Why? Because this form, they are so frequent, they are highly frequent, and they resist. Mereka menolak regularization. They don't want to be regularized. I am popular enough in this form. Saya sudah tinggi frekuensinya dalam bentuk ini. Many people use it. Why should I change? Yeah, so that's how frequency can resist language change and also drive language change. Okay, and then you know there is frequent word combination such as be, going to, and get to tend to fuse together in pronunciation, like gonna, gotta, and then something like that. Okay, be, going to tends to be pronounced as gonna and get to as gotta. So that's because they are so frequent and their combination fuse in the pronunciation. Okay, that's the role of frequency. And because they are so frequent, they also gain new meaning. They acquire new meaning. So be, going to is not just you move to a particular place, but it also means now future. Okay, it has future meaning at the moment. And then get to also means obligation. Now I got to go, I get to study, means you need to study. Yeah, it's a kind of obligation meaning. And frequency information like that can be easily retrieved using computer. Yeah, and it is virtually impossible for you to count by hand. Okay, and computer help us with that. Okay, and also frequency can help teachers and textbook writers when they want to decide the order to present new words to students. For instance, these new words may not be that frequent in their use, so I don't really need to bother introducing this to the student. Jadi, frekuensi kemunculan suatu kata itu juga membantu guru-guru dan juga penulis buku untuk menentukan kata mana yang harus diajarkan lebih dulu kepada murid, karena kalau dia diajarkan kata-kata yang tidak banyak digunakan orang, maybe that student will not be recognized or understood by many speakers. Yeah, and this kind of decision in the old days use intuition and common sense. Jadi zaman dulu masih menggunakan intuisi untuk menentukan ini. Yeah, so before computer and corpora, counting is done by hand. So that's why maybe there is not so many quantitative study in linguistics before, because there is no computer and corpora that help you count things quickly. And if you count by hand, it is laborious, sangat sulit, and error prone, easy to get a mistake. Now, let's do some other game here a bit. So let's see a simple example of frequency in corpus. So now I want you to think about what are the most frequent words in the corpus of contemporary American English. I want you to think about the first top 5 most frequent word. Jadi coba dipikirkan kira-kira 5 kata paling tinggi frekuensinya teratas di Koka itu apa? Okay, you can write it down or think in your mind and remember those words, remember those lists, and check if your intuition matches with what we have in the corpus. Okay, maybe you can type in on the chat, or let me see, I cannot see the chat. Anyway, let's see what Koka gives us about the most frequent words in the corpus, and check that with what you think. Okay. So here is the top 40 most frequent words in Koka. Ini adalah 40 kata teratas yang frekuensinya tinggi di Koka. Does your list include the, be, and, and of in your top 5 most frequent words that you think? If not, so maybe our intuition is not that good. Okay, and with this kind of data, we can get an objective way to answer this question. Ya, cara yang objektif untuk menjawab pertanyaan ini adalah dengan melihat corpus daripada relying on your intuition, because you and your friend may have different intuition, and you don't want to have trouble with your friend because arguing about this. Okay. Right, so and if you see qualitatively speaking, ya kalau kita ngomong secara kualitas sekarang, most of these words in this top 40, they are all grammatical words. They are functional words like article, the, conjunction, preposition, pronoun. Not really words like school, like textbooks, like noodles, and so on. Yeah, they are not that frequent in the corpus. And if you check different corpus, you will find similar lists in these most frequent words. Ya, kalau kalian cek korpus-korpus bahasa Inggris yang lain, mungkin kalian akan mendapatkan the, and, you, in juga ada di top 10 atau top 20. Okay, because they are functional words. Okay, and even if you see, okay, there is verb here, but most of these verbs, they are also very generic verb, auxiliary verb. Have can also be used for auxiliary verb very frequently. I have said that, I have written that, rather than just I have in the sense of possession. Do is also frequently used as auxiliary verb. Okay, and other verbs like say, go, get, can, and know, their meaning are too generic as well. Okay. Okay, 14 minutes. So now let's focus on just verbs. What do you think are the most frequent lexical verbs in Koka? So lexical verbs are verbs that are not do auxiliary, be auxiliary, and have auxiliary. According to Koka definition, yeah, it's not my definition, it's Koka definition. So verb like decide, jump, travel, read, those are lexical verbs. Think about, let's say the most frequent lexical verbs in Koka. What is in your list? In the top 5, kira-kira di list kalian tuh apa yang top 5 paling frequent lexical verbs in Koka? Make that list and I'll continue now. So this is the top 30 most frequent lexical verbs in Koka. Know, said, get, think, and see. Okay, and these are all generic verb. Verb like get, and go, and going, what else? Want, they are so frequent, and they can also be used in different constructions, different patterns. So you don't just use go to means I go to school. You can also use it as auxiliary verb like he goes mad, he goes crazy, and so on. Yeah. Want also, it's not just used as I want that book, I want that food, for instance. It's used as in verb like I want to go, I want to read that book, and so on. Okay, right, and then this is how I generate this list in Koka. Select the list feature and then type in verb, capital, click find matching strings and you get this. Okay. Try this at home if you get the same result like me. That's part of the reliability advantage of using corpora rather than using your intuition. And of course, we can compare frequency lists of verbs in different corpus. Jadi kita bisa bandingkan juga daftar frekuensi kata kerja di dua korpus yang berbeda, misalnya coronavirus corpus and COCA. Do they have the same list of verbs in the top 30, for instance? That's a question. And if we look at and compare, some of the verbs in the coronavirus corpus also appear in COCA. Jadi kata kerja yang ada di sini di COVID corpus ini juga ada di COCA, seperti set, get, make, going, take. They appear here, but if you look closely, verbs like reported and continue, they are in the top 30 in coronavirus corpus, but not even appear here. Okay. Working is in the rank 19, di peringkat 19 di coronavirus corpus. It's not even in the top 30 in COCA. Okay. Tested, not surprising. Announced, they're in the top 30. Okay, not even here. Work as well, working, maybe working from home, I don't know. Work from home, discourse, tested, maybe because this is COVID and so on. Okay, and this means that certain verbs have different importance. Jadi ada sentralitas yang berbeda untuk masing-masing verb di jenis teks dan discourse atau wacana yang berbeda. And it is hard for us to think and find this kind of fact if just using or without looking at real data. Okay, and different word can have different ranking here. Jadi help ada di ranking 9 di sini, tapi di sini di ranking 27. Ya mungkin dia lebih penting di teks tentang COVID dibandingkan teks tentang American English in general. And if we compare top 30 adjectives here, we have different findings. Yeah, adjectives in coronavirus corpus and in corpus of contemporary American English. Words such as pandemic, not surprising, positive in the 7th rank. Okay, financial, economic, and so on. So these are all adjectives that are prominent, important in this corpus, in the text about coronavirus, but not really in the general English in America. Yeah. Okay, so that's how we can use frequency to compare usage of words in different text types. You see, offline, online, and safe appears in the top 30, not even here. Okay. And different words have that appears, jadi kata-kata yang bisa muncul di kedua korpus ini, di top 30, rankingnya bisa berbeda. Artinya, their importance, their prominence differ across this corpus. Okay. And if you are interested, for instance, to know how does positive appear in context, you click on this word, and you will be directed to this keyword in context display again. And if you look closely, most of the use of positive has to do with tests. Okay, tested positive, positive test, tested positive, tested positive, tested positive. So there are patterns of language use. Itu adalah pola pemakaian bahasa. Okay, this is the last topic. I promised I still have 8 minutes. So the rest we can talk about it in the discussion. And COCA, because COCA has different genres, karena COCA ada genre teks yang berbeda, magazine, fiction, academic text, newspaper, blog, TV, and so on. And COCA is also timestamp with periods. Jadi COCA juga ditandai untuk periode dari tahun 90 sampai 2019. We can compare frequency of words across genre and time periods. Kita juga bisa membandingkan frekuensi pemakaian kata berdasarkan teks, genre, dan juga periods. So if we compare across time periods, we can know how words is changed in terms of its use. Okay. Let's see a simple example using ambicategorical words that we have seen before. If you forget about what ambicategorical words, these are ambicategorical words, the examples, text, email, talk, email, text, okay, yang bisa muncul di dua kategori. And I will focus now on the word message, ya, pesan. Let's see the frequency of message as a verb. across genres. Jadi frekuensi message sebagai verb, karena message bisa digunakan sebagai verb dan noun. If you look at this results, this chart, these are the genre: blog, web, TV, spoken fiction, magazine, news, academic. You see, message as a verb is more predominant in blog and web text rather than in TV script or in academic text. Okay, and it's also quite frequent message as a verb in magazine and I think in news. Yeah. Okay, so it means that particular word in a particular word class does not have equal frequency across different text types. Oke, jadi satu kata dengan kelas kata tertentu itu frekuensi pemakaiannya tidak sama di jenis teks yang berbeda. Oke, and that's something that we cannot think of and we cannot be confident of if we just rely on intuition and without checking that intuition in real data like this. This is how I generate this chart. So try this at home later on and see if you can generate the same result like me. And then if we compare frequency of message as a verb on the left and as a noun on the right across these genres, we see that there are differences. Yeah, so message as a noun is frequent in spoken language, but not message as a verb. Yeah, in spoken language is not that frequent compared to compared to message as a noun. And also message as a noun is more frequent in academic texts, but message as a verb is not that frequent in academic texts. Okay. Yeah, so this is the frequency of this message as a noun. This is frequency of message as a verb. Okay, we see different word class of the same form have different distribution across text type. And if we look at frequency of message as a verb across time, across period from 1990s up to 2019, there is increasing trend for message as a verb. Yeah, so before people use message as a verb not that frequent in the 1990s, and it grows its frequency across time. Jadi frekuensinya meningkat dari tahun 90 sampai 2019. This can tell us about when and how a new category of a verb or a word appear in particular language. Maybe we can explain this in terms of technological development, perkembangan teknologi, semakin populernya orang menggunakan email ataupun telepon genggam, so that this category, verbal category of message also increases. Okay. Kalau kita lihat ini adalah ukuran teks, the size of the corpus in its period. The size is almost the same, but the frequency of the verb, the message as the verb is increasing. Yeah, you can see from this graph. And if we compare now frequency of message as a verb and noun across time, not across genre, we see that the frequency of message as a noun is quite stable across period. Jadi message sebagai noun itu sudah stabil dari dulu ya. Mungkin it means that it is originally used as a noun before it is used as a verb. Okay, so message in the 1990s is very frequent, 97 times per 1 million words, and here it's just 0.04 per million word message as a verb. Okay, so now we know that okay, originally message is a verb and it can be used as a noun. Sorry, that's a mistake. Message originally as a noun, and then it gains usage, ini mendapatkan penggunaan yang baru as a verb. And this is evidence for that kind of interpretations. Okay. This is just another example using the word text as a verb across genre and across time. Okay. I still have 3 minutes, so I think I will stop not discussing this. And I will continue to the conclusion. If you are interested, you can see the slide and you can download the slide later on. Okay, let me go to conclusion. So I hope I've shown you that the study of human language can take a wide range of perspectives. Here we look at how word is used across genre, across time period. And by nature, linguistics is an interdisciplinary enterprise. So we see how the help of computer science, what we call, is an advantage of us for studying language. Ya, bantuan computer science itu dengan komputer seperti yang tadi membantu kita untuk meneliti bahasa. And then, so technological advances in the mid-20th century, such as computer and corpora, have now changed the way linguists do language sciences. Okay, most of the linguists have now turned into corpora for their research. And these advances also offer many new insights about language that remain uncovered if we don't look at corpora or we don't have computer in that way. Okay, so with that, I want to thank you for your attention and looking forward to your question and comment. And if you are interested with the slide, you can download it here. Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for the informative and interesting talk. It was very useful for us as students in understanding the field of linguistics and basic corpus linguistics. Okay, we come to, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, we are come to the last agenda. We would like to say thanks again for presenter and for Miss Tessa for taking the time to join us today, and also all the audience for active participation. Sorry. I'm gonna repeat again what I told. Now we come to question and answer session. There will be 2 sessions, and each session is for 3 questions. And just a reminder, please be sure to type your question into the live chat feature or chat room, or by using raise hand. And don't forget to mention your name. We will limit the question and answer session to about 30 minutes. When the question and answer session is in progress, it is hoped that the discussion of participants will always be orderly and calm. To the audience who will ask questions, I invite you to ask. Okay, it looks like we have a few questions. Wait a minute. From Kak Murah, you can mention your question.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Mr. Primahadi.
Yeah, good morning. Who is it, Nura or what? Who's speaking?
Hi, Nura, sir. Thank you for the explanation, such excellent and also significant for us. Especially, I am from the 6th semester. I really think it is very useful for me to start my future research. But as we learn here, the language scientist in this digital age is very easy to found data and also to publish their research, because in this age, every journal are going online. But at the same time, as an undergraduate student, our research, according to my research method lecturer, who teach how we do research, as an undergraduate students, we should go or we should do our research from theory. So we have to determine our theory first, and then we do research. But at the same time, because there are a lot of data and also research have done at the same theory, uh, at the end we end up in following the same theory but using different source. So I found myself hard to find a new, like a new thing to provide to the assessor to be fill in my research in the future. So can you please, sir, share with us maybe your how your bachelor degree research are conducted, and did you like bring new topics in that research? Just like to, I want you to recall how you conduct research in your undergraduate student, so we can learn from your experience. Because like what have said by Ms. Desak, you are very young, but you already got your PhD, and that makes me very inspired. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Murad. It's a humbling situation for me to hear undergraduate students ask about that. I fondly and clearly remember what I did during my undergraduate thesis, how I come up with a topic that I'm still doing until now. So this is a kind of sharing, okay? So if this sounds corny, so I'm sorry, but let me recall a bit about what I experienced during my undergrad thesis. So I would say that I found the topic that I'm interested in by myself. So I start by reading textbooks. I know that many students or from different years above us, they do this kind of topics a lot. Yes, topiknya sama semua. And then I think I want to be different. I don't want to do that again. So I search different books. I look at different books, and I found particular books about metaphors that I'm now still doing at the moment. The title is Metaphors We Live By. And that's not just a book about metaphor, it's just a book about how language works. And that's eye-opening for me. That makes me, I've never think about that. This is a kind of language or fact about language that I've never thought before. So that makes me interested in that. So my first suggestion is that if you are interested in particular area in linguistics, let's say you are interested in sociolinguistics, I would suggest you start reading books rather than your senior thesis. Oke, jadi kalau kalian tertarik dengan sociolinguistic, you read the sociolinguistic books and find areas where which aspects of sociolinguistics that has never been analyzed, never been studied by your senior, for instance. And with that, also the second part is that be brave and then be confident with yourself. Even though you looks like a standalone person, mungkin kalian sendiri yang ambil topik itu, it shouldn't be a problem. Because that's how you become different in a way, okay? If you want to be different, you need to take different path from what most people do. And that's what I do. So I study myself. There is no one to ask. I read myself that book. And of course, it requires hard work. I don't say that being different is easy. It requires dedication. You need to read a lot. Oke, and also maintain your interest. Jadi kalian harus baca yang banyak dan mempertahankan ketertarikan kalian terhadap topik itu. And that's how you can progress. And that's what I did exactly. So I'm interested in that, and I want to read more about that topic. So that's why I browse Google and look at the references that author refer to. Jadi saya ngelihat tulisan-tulisan yang diacu, referencesnya itu apa sih? So I search through that book through Google for that. And that sounds nerdy, itu mungkin kedengeran nerdy, but that's what you have to do if you want to be different. And that what makes me interested in research. Okay, before I don't know if I want to be a teacher or what, but after reading that book, I know that I want to do research on this topic, and I'm still doing it until now. And that still fascinated me up until now. So read from the book rather than your undergraduate thesis, your senior's undergraduate thesis. And then explore more on the internet, because you are lucky nowadays, not during my time, because in my era in 2007, when I started working on at your level semester 6, internet is not a thing at that time. So it's hard to find resource online. So that's the first step. So I would say that's my tips for that. Yeah. So read the book and then compare the book with the analysis that has been done by your seniors, and then see if you are brave enough and confident enough to take the topic that has never been done. And of course, you can ask your lecturer. Okay, that's also something that I tell my students now. Don't hesitate to talk to your lecturer in the that is expert in the area. He should be happy to chat with you about their topic. Jadi kalau dosennya sudah expert di bidang itu, ada mahasiswa yang nanya S1 tentang topik itu, seharusnya dosennya itu senang berbagi. Okay, that what should look like. Okay, rather than concealing knowledge daripada nutup-nutupi ilmu, the lecturer should share what they know to their student. And that's what I suggest you to do. Talk to your lecturer, be active. That's not what I did before, because, you know, I'm still a bit of scared talking or asking lecturer. Now with WhatsApp, you can easily talk to your lecturer. So I think that's how you could get started. And after that, you will find a way to follow along your interests, I think. And I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for the question from Murah Ratnadi, and then thank you for Mr. Gede for your answer. Okay, we also have other raising hands here. So the access will be opened for Igede Sumarta. Igede Sumarta, I'm yours. You can give your.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Primahadi. My name is Igede Sumartayasa. I'm from semester 6C. Before that, thank you for the explanation. And I would like to ask a few questions regarding the material. First is, in the presentation, you said that computer science helped linguists to study about the language. But how about the influence of computer science to the language itself? Is there a chance that computer science contribute to the change of the language? And the second question is, what can you give us a glimpse or picture? What kind of topic can be explored for us, undergraduate student, for our thesis, perhaps? Okay, that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Gede. That's a hard question, honestly speaking. I would say that that's a hard question. And I want to know, what do you mean by computer science changed language? Does that mean because there is computer discourse, text about computer, and there is new words that is related to technology? Is that what you mean by computer science changed language? Or computer science changed the way we study language? Is that what you mean, Gede?
Maybe because we know how the development of the language, especially how we use word from an era to an era. So it may influence our, how do you say, our perspective about language. So as we know, like in English, some words can be obsolete and some word can replace the previous word, the usage of words. So is there a chance of by studying this in the computer science change the language or the usage of language in our life?
Well, I will take that as a question about how can computer help us study language first. That's how I will interpret that question first. So yes, of course, computer can help us study the change of language. If first of all you have the text from different period, jadi kalau kalian punya teks dari periode berbeda, maybe you gather text from of English from Middle English or early modern English, and then you study how the use of the word change across those texts. And of course, you study that using computer tools like Corpus linguistic tool that I have introduced today. And in that way, you can see how computer science can help you study language change. That's one thing. Another area where computer science can help you study language change is by the computational not computational, statistical technique that can only be done using computer. So you create a statistical model, model statistic, and then you run that model on the language text using computer. Jadi you run the statistical technique in computer, not manually, on the language text across different genre, different period. And that way you can see how the statistical model help you reveal the way meaning of a word change across time. That is a second way how computer science can help. Ya, jadi perkembangan saat ini di linguistik juga ada istilahnya computational linguistic, linguistik komputasi, di mana tidak hanya menggunakan komputer untuk pemodelan statistik yang bisa dijalankan menggunakan komputer. And this statistical modeling can reveal about patterns of prediction. That's one thing I think that I can answer. How computer science help us to study language. Of course, that's oversimplification. Itu hanya penyederhanaan yang luar biasa yang saya sebut tadi. Because I don't want to talk the details, and I don't know much about the details. Okay, so that's just I would say overview about how computer science help you study language change. And your second question is about topics. Is that what you asked? Potential topics. Well, I cannot give a topic if you are not interested in. So the first thing that if you read book about research method, I think the first thing that they suggest you to find a topic is follow your interests, okay? Because you will live it and breathe with that topic for the next 2 years. Jadi kalian akan tidur, hidup, bernafas dengan topik itu for the next 2 years. You need to make sure that you are happy doing what you are doing. Jadi, if I give you, you do this, and then you raise your eyes and this is difficult. I cannot do it. You are not happy and you cannot finish your study. So start by any aspect of language that interests you and see if you can find the, let's say, theory or sub areas of language that you can pursue for that. So yeah, I don't ask topic. Usually you find topic by reading. So that's what I do. That's what I said to Mura. Until now, I look for topic by reading rather than asking people. I hope that
Very much, sir.
Right, thank you for the question from Igede Sumberka, sorry. And then since we still have a few minutes left, I gave the opportunity to 3 more people to ask questions. So is anyone to pose the question? Come on. Come on to ask. Don't waste your chance, right? Especially for semester 4th and 6th.
I think Gusti Ayu is raising hand.
Okay,
Arlinda.
okay, please mention your question.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Arlinda. So I would like to ask her, where did you found the book that be your resource for your research? So because if you want to find a book in internet, sometimes I don't know where is the good one or the bad one. Terpercaya, that I mean.
Yeah, I know.
That's it, sir.
Okay. There are resources about that you can browse. Of course, from it's hard to find free book online unless you have link to the dark web and so on. And before, when I was undergraduate, when I did or work on my undergraduate thesis, I used a hard copy book. Okay, hard copy book, and then a friend of mine gave me a PDF of the book. So he knows how to get that. He has a friend somewhere abroad and gave me the book for that. So that's how it works. And now, when I was doing my doctoral degree, the university provide us with access to the book. Okay, but we can talk about other resource in detail later on. I'll be in touch. We'll be in touch again about that. But mostly you will need to check if the book is published by, let's say, well-known publisher, salah satunya, penerbit terkenal, but that's not always the case. You don't have to rely on religious publisher. So the tip is that you need to know, this is also another tip for you. You need to know a bit about who is the big player or who are among the big players in the area that you are interested in. If you are interested in this course analysis, who are those guys that are big enough, the main player in the field? And you need to check his website, and if he produce a book, then those are books that you can trust, I think. Jadi kalau kita tahu orang-orang penting di bidang itu, kita bisa follow dia di websitenya, and that can be trusted, itu bisa dipercaya. Or you can also get not only book but also research article by following or joining a web like academia.edu or researchgate.net, researchgate.org, where author will share their work there. Jadi penulis-penulis itu bisa saja men-share full paper artikelnya di situ di academia.edu or researchgate.org. Or you can go to Google Scholar. Have you heard Google Scholar? Pernah dengar Google Scholar? So you can go to Google Scholar and type in keywords that are related to your topics. If you are interested in language and gender, so you type language, gender, any other keywords in that area in the Google Scholar using double quote, okay, double quote, language, space, double quote, gender, and so on. Hit enter, and there will be some works that have PDF in them. Jadi pasti ada beberapa judul atau karya yang ada PDF-nya that you can download and read. Okay, so Google Scholar is also a good one-stop academic shop for you to browse for paper, but maybe not books, but mostly articles. Or, okay, I just remember there is a website or there is publisher that publishes open access book. Nama publishernya itu is Language Science Press. It's like our topic now. I type it in the chat, Language Science Press. It's in Germany, in Berlin, Language Science Press. So they publish open access book. And this is trusted and is a big thing in linguistics now, Language Science Press. Jadi di situ ada beberapa buku yang open access, but maybe they are too technical, but it's a good resource for you to check. Yeah, Language Science Press. There are books about many things about language there. And let me know if you are successful with that. Jadi nanti bisa diinfo ya apakah kalian ada nemu nggak buku yang cocok di situ. Yeah, so that's Language Science Press. Then I think I remember there is book about translation, about corpus linguistics, about grammar, about semantics. It's there, open access. So I think you can go there as well.
All right, thank you, sir.
Right, thank you, sir, for the explanation. And any questions again for the participant? Okay. If there are no more questions, I will close the discussion session. And it looks like we've covered all the questions for Mr. Gede. Is there anything else you wanted to say before a wrap up?
No, I just hope that you can get a bit of inspiration from my talk and can be helpful for you to get resource, because I mean nowadays it's hard for us to do field work, okay, in this kind of situation, and using Corpora, the data that is available in digital form is an alternative for you to run your thesis project. I hope it can help, and I wish you all the best and good luck for your research project, especially for the semester student. And I hope the fourth semester student can start thinking ahead about what they will do for the final project.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, we are come to the last agenda. We would like to say thanks again for presenter and taking the time and also of the audience for
belum cariin Maxim. Pakai Maxim. Kalau udah baru dicariin.
Sorry, for the participant, can you mute your microphone, please? You. I was the conclusion of the presentation today.
Language science in the digital. In the digital.
Has 15 years has benefited from technological advance, where the large data set evaluation of facts and the language corpus or corpora for plural have become more available with exponentially.
Saya bilang ya bolu. Oh bolu aja sendiri sana. Iya bolu aja di sini. Oh mantap bolu. Kamu dipuji.
Mute your microphone, please. This turn, among others, also triggers Real quantity of corpus data and computational approach to address old and new research questions in linguistics in particular and humanities more broadly. The first part of this lecture introduces students to the language or linguistics subfield and some research stems in that subfield. The second part of this lecture introduces students to the basic of corpus linguistics, including the existence of an available English corpus and some case studies on the application of corpus linguistic methodology in linguistic subfield. Sorry. I hopefully the presentation will give benefit for us. And then now we will share to you the review link of Studio General. And after you're finished the review link, the certificate will automatically send it to you via email. Don't forget to fill it. And for the participants, I hopefully you already fill your attendance list. And with the end of the presentation and question and answer session, I will end the Studio General. As the moderator, I apologize if there are mistakes, whether intentional or unintentional. Also, I represent the committee. We apologize if there are deficiencies that we do. I will close our event with Pramasanti. Om Santi 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 Om. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
For the participant, you can leave the room.
Oh.
Sorry, for the participants, please don't forget to fill your review. If you don't fill it, you will not get a certificate. Thank you.
Kalau yang masih ngisi disorder, dia aja benar.
For the participants, before you left the rooms, don't forget to fill your questionnaire that we shared in chat book. Thank you. For the participants, I repeat again what I told. You left the next now to vote, and don't forget to fill the questionnaire that we sent in the live chat. I mean, in the chat box.